Everything you find in this world, from the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the shoes you put on, the phone you are using right now, your computer, even the air you have, the air you breathe, all these are made up of chemicals. And first of all, why do we study chemistry? What is chemistry? And why should we be studying chemistry? By the end of this video, you are going to be able to understand why chemistry is important in our daily life, why we should study chemistry. We don't just study chemistry because we want to study. It really helps us to be able to achieve certain things in life. Welcome once again to this channel. If you're coming for the first time, this is called ScienceUp Pro, where science and mathematics are made easier for people to understand. So if you have been facing difficulties with science subjects, being it biology, physics, chemistry, and mathematics, make this channel your home because we are going to simplify complex concepts in other sciences into simple, absorbable form so that you should be able to assimilate and pass your exams well. So if you're just coming to this channel for the first time today, do well to subscribe, like this video so that you are not going to miss any of my video which is going to be released, because we are going to simplify everything so that you should be able to understand and succeed in your science education, your career you are trying to build. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel, like the video. So by the end of this video, these are your learning objectives, right? These are your learning objectives. You should be able to define chemistry. What is chemistry? What is chemistry all about? The basic concept you have to know about chemistry. You should be able to give the importance, how chemistry is important in the society. You should be able to explain situations where chemistry is being applied in real life, applications, right? Applications of chemistry in real life. And lastly, you should be able to distinguish between chemistry and other sciences. Distinguish between chemistry and other sciences. So by the end of this video, you should be able to do all this. Without any further ado, let's get started straight away. What is chemistry? When they ask you this question in your class exam, what are you going to write? Actually, chemistry is a branch of science. The first thing is a branch of science, right? It's derived from science, a branch of science which studies matter. Chemistry studies matter and it's a branch of science. It also studies its properties, the properties of matter, studies matter and the properties, the reactions, and everything about matter. It also studies chemicals, how chemical reactions have been taking place. So this is chemistry. So this matter, the properties of matter. Properties, what are properties? Properties are what or how matter behaves. That is a simple explanation about properties. How matter behaves, how it reacts, or how it combines, and everything you have to know about something, about that matter. Now, when I say chemistry is a branch of science that studies matter, what is matter? Talking about matter, what is matter? We are going to learn more about this in further modules, but what is matter? This is just a brief introduction to matter. Matter is anything that has mass, or weight and takes up space. Anything that has mass or weight and take up space is called matter. So according to this definition, there is nothing on this world that is not matter. Everything is matter. From the book you see, all the books you have are matter. The air, even the air, is matter because it's able to occupy space. It has weight. You can measure the weight of those things you find around you, right? Everything you see around you is matter. That is the simple truth about that. So if everything you find around you is matter, it means that chemistry helps us to be able to understand everything around us, able to understand how they behave, their shapes, how they behave, their behavior, their properties, and everything you have to know about them. So in general, chemistry helps us to understand the world, which is mostly dealing with chemicals. Chemicals. Even though other sciences also help us to understand the world, it means that chemistry and other branches of science are combining together collectively to help us understand the natural world because of chemistry and other related branches of science. That is a basic introduction to chemistry. Do we just study this chemistry for studying sake, or it has some importance, some values it adds up to our daily life? Let's look at it critically. Why should we study chemistry? Chemistry helps in the various fields of life. Medicines. The first one is medicine, which is very important. You know we cannot survive on this planet, on this earth, without medicines, right? We need medicine, constant medicine. And how is that medicine being produced? Medicines are being produced because of the knowledge in chemistry. Chemistry helps scientists to be able to produce medicines, drugs, which are able to treat our diseases and keep us healthy. Secondly, chemistry helps in agriculture. Agriculture, that is the cultivation of crops and rearing of animals, right? Without chemistry, we will not be able to cultivate better crops because you can see that pests and so many other diseases are affecting crops, right? If you don't even know the quality of a good soil, the quality and the various components of the soil, you will not be able to cultivate good crops. So chemistry help us be able to understand all this, able to know the particular disease that affects a particular crop, know the particular disease that affects a particular animal that you are rearing. That is chemistry. Help us to be able to have good agricultural products. Chemistry also help us to understand cooking, right? Cooking. What do we mean by chemistry help us to understand cooking? You can drop the answer at the comment section if you know the answer. In cooking, chemistry help us be able to understand what food is made up of. Huh? The various reactions. What happens to food whenever you are cooking? If you just stand a pot on the fire and add your rice to that pot, or put your rice in that pot and the fire is heating it, what happens to that rice before it gets ready? What is this heat doing to the food before it's getting ready? That is what chemistry helps us to understand. Chemistry helps us to understand the various active components in a particular food. For example, if you know that rice, you are eating rice, without the knowledge of chemistry, you will not be able to understand that rice contains carbohydrate or starch that gives energy to your body. That is the knowledge of chemistry. Everything about food, you'll be able to understand it. You're able to understand egg. It's made of proteins. And proteins are they are very important to build up your body, build up tissues in your body. That is the knowledge of chemistry. Without chemistry, all these things will not be able to be understood by us humans. That is the knowledge of chemistry that we are having. That the next importance of chemistry. Chemistry helps a lot in soap making. Without chemistry, we will not be able to have what we call savon. Savon is made because of the knowledge acquired from chemistry, that we take a chemical, mix it together, and it's going to give us a particular substance known as savon or soap. That is chemistry. So without chemistry, we will not be able to have savon and so many other detergents. Not only about soap, detergents are also made with the knowledge of chemistry. Even fertilizers. Fertilizers are also products of chemistry. Without chemistry, we will not be able to produce these natural fertilizers that we put on our crops to grow well. For example, 2010 is a type of fertilizer which is being produced, and that is being produced because of chemistry. It's a mixture. We are mixing substances. With the knowledge of chemistry, you know that if you take this substance and mix it with this one, the product is going to be something else, and that is going to be useful. And the next importance of chemistry also helps in the production of fuels. The various fuels, most of the things in our daily lives, the vehicles and so many things are working because of fuels. Without fuels, your vehicle cannot move. There will not be transportation. Transportation will be difficult without the knowledge of chemistry. Even talking about fuels, without chemistry, all the vehicles you have will not be produced as well. They will not be produced, not even talking about fuels. Fuels are also important because they are being produced because of the knowledge of chemistry, but without chemistry, even what fuel is going to be used in will not be produced as well. Just a little briefing about these fuels. Fuels come out from what we call crude oil. Crude oil is a natural product we have around us. Crude oil is because of the knowledge that scientists will know that with that crude oil, that which is natural in an environment, we can produce things like petrol. Petrol is a fuel. We can produce things like kerosene, which is also used by things like jets. We also use kerosene, right? We can produce diesel. So with knowledge of chemistry, scientists are able to produce all these these fuel products from the crude oil, which is natural in our environment. This is very important. Without chemistry, they will not be able to exist. Even battery, when you look at the battery of your device, there are many battery, right? Battery of your device, your phone, the battery of a vehicle, and so many other types of battery are being produced because of chemistry. There is a chemical reaction that is happening between what you are seeing or inside what you are seeing before electricity is being generated, and that is coming from the knowledge we acquired from chemistry. Okay, let's talk about the last one, water treatment. If we don't treat water, we are not going to be able to drink clean water, which is good for our body. You know that there are so many pollutants around us which contaminate our water. Chemistry comes with the knowledge to help us treat this water, these pollutants that we have surrounded in our water bodies, so that we should be able to drink only what our body needs, not pollutants. Chemistry helps us to produce things like chlorine. You know that chlorine is very important in the purification of water, and so many other substances which we can use to kill bacteria, kill germs, and kill microorganisms present in our water body so that our body should not be affected by diseases which are invaders. Basically, chemistry helps us to be able to live perfectly, because without chemistry, if we don't have all these things, how are we going to survive? There is no way. Actually, you are going to see a branch of chemistry that helps us to be able to understand our internal system as well. A branch of chemistry known as biochemistry. Biochemistry is a branch of chemistry. I'm going to talk about the various branches of chemistry which do exist. That is chemistry. This subject, chemistry, is too broad and is able to make a great impact in our life if we understand it and apply it well as we are learning. If we apply it well, you see that many things in this life are going to be easy if we understand chemistry well. Okay, let's talk about the various branches of chemistry. As we have seen earlier, chemistry helps us to be able to understand, do many other things in life. To be able to understand all the various aspects of life is going to be very difficult to understand as a broad concept, right? We have to divide it into smaller branches so that is going to help us to understand it better. So the first branch of chemistry, we have 5 branches of chemistry. There are 5 branches of chemistry, and the first branch is called organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is the first branch of chemistry. You also have physical chemistry. We have analytical chemistry. You also have inorganic chemistry. Inorganic chemistry. And lastly, we have the branch which I mentioned earlier in this video, which is biochemistry. Don't worry, I'm going to explain briefly about these branches, but as you are studying chemistry to a higher level, you are going to understand all the branches in details. But I'm going to just take these few minutes to explain briefly about each branch. So let's talk about organic chemistry. What is organic chemistry? This organic chemistry is a branch of chemistry, as you can see, right? It's a branch of chemistry which studies carbon-containing compounds that contains carbon in them. For example, carbon dioxide is an organic compound because it contains carbon, right? You can also talk of methane. These are organic compounds, CH4, not CH3. These are organic compounds. They contain carbon. So any compound which contains carbon and you are studying it, you are studying organic chemistry. Organic chemistry studies all the carbon containing compounds. For example, the fuels that we have, even the medicines that we have, and so many other things like the food that we even eat are all organic compounds. Fuels, you can talk of kerosene, it's an organic compound, right? Petrol is an organic compound. Medicines, you can talk of any drug of your choice. These are organic compounds because those compounds contain carbon atoms in them. The food that we eat, they are all organic compounds, right? Carbohydrate, most of the food that we eat are made of carbohydrate. C6H12O6. This is the formula of a glucose molecule, right? Yes. We're going to learn more about all these branches or what I've mentioned in this video in other modules of this course. Actually, all these videos are in series. They start from the basics and build you gradually to the advanced level, right? Yes. So by learning this first concept, introduction to chemistry, the first one is going to help you understand some other broad or some other complex topics in chemistry. This is a chain series. So do well to subscribe to this channel if you are not yet subscribed. Hit that like button as well so that it's going to show to many other friends who are also facing difficulties in chemistry, who wants to pass their chemistry exams with flying colors. So the next branch is inorganic chemistry. By you understanding organic chemistry, you automatically know what inorganic chemistry is. If organic chemistry is studying carbon-containing compound, it means that inorganic chemistry is going to study compounds that are not made up of carbon atoms, right? Such as metals. Metals are not always made of carbon, and so many other elements are not always made of carbon. These are the type of compounds we study in inorganic chemistry. Compounds that do not contain carbon in them. Any compound that does not contain carbon in them is being studied in inorganic chemistry. Now talking about the last branch or the third branch known as physical chemistry. What is physical chemistry? This physical chemistry is very important because it helps us to understand how substances are able to change from one form to another. That is chemical reactions, right? Why chemical reactions are able to take place. You understand everything about chemical reactions under this branch known as physical chemistry. It helps us to understand what happens when you take food, when you take rice, uncooked rice or raw rice, and cook on the fire. What happens when you cook that rice on the fire? What happens to the rice before it gets ready? That is what we are studying in physical chemistry, chemical reaction. Even though we can still borrow some knowledge from other sciences to apply in this physical chemistry, but that is a core concept behind this branch of chemistry known as physical chemistry. Now the next one is known as analytical chemistry. Analytical chemistry. Analytics. When we talk of analytical chemistry, what automatically comes into your mind? What are you thinking of? Analytical, analytics, analyze. In this branch of chemistry, we want to analyze certain substances. We are identifying substances. Yes, when you look at a particular substance, you are trying to see exactly what is making up that substance. You are analyzing. If I just give you a particular compound, you would not know that compound unless you analyze it. You find out the properties of that compound. You'll be able to analyze it. That is called analytical chemistry. We are trying to identify unknown compounds or unknown substances in analytical chemistry. And the last branch, which is known as biochemistry. What is biochemistry? This branch, biochemistry, is mostly my field, what I studied in the university. Actually, biochemistry studies the chemical processes that occurs in living systems. The chemical processes that occur in living systems is being studied in this branch of chemistry. So if you are talking about something like digestion, you know that there is a chemical process of digestion, right? There's a chemical process of digestion which has to deal with enzymes. These are the chemical process of digestion. So chemistry help also be able to understand the chemical process of things like digestion. Everything that happens in living systems, the chemical aspect of it is being studied in biochemistry. You can see that two names or two words are linked together, bio and chemistry. Oh, this is a combination of two science subjects together, biology and chemistry. What is bio? Bio is life, right? Living, life. Chemistry, which is the study of matter, the substances, and how they react. So these two things are related. That is biochemistry. These are the various branches, the 5 branches of chemistry, which you have to know about. Okay, considering you have understood all the branches of chemistry, now let's look at how to differentiate chemistry from other sciences. Chemistry versus other sciences. Look at the differences. Now, other sciences, what are the science subjects you know about? The science subject, we have chemistry, the first one, what we are learning today, chemistry. Chemistry studies matter, and it changes, that is chemical reaction, right? Matter and it changes. The second branch of science, which is physics. What is physics? Can distinguish between these branches. Physics. What does physics studies? Physics studies energy. It studies motion, studies energy, studies motion and forces. These are the branches. The physics, which is a branch. Talking about biology. Biology is also a branch. What does biology studies? Biology studies living organisms. Or living things. Biology studies life. Something which is living life is being studied in biology. So from this, you can see that chemistry studies matter, even though physics also studies matter, right? Physics studies matter. But the uniqueness of physics is that physics studies energy and motion. Physics studies matter as well. Biology also studies matter, living matter that is living. Anything living is being studied in biology. These are the various distinctions of the sciences or the branches of science that we have, the branches of chemistry and other sciences as well. We have been talking about chemistry, which is a branch of science, without understanding science. Is it fair? It's not fair. So you have to understand what is science or how chemistry is able to come out from science. What is science? Science is the study of the natural world. Science studies the world. The world is being studied in science. All the branches of science that we have seen are helping us to understand the world. So science studies the natural world using things like experiments or observations. Yes, observe with your eyes. There are many things you can observe with, right? Experiments and so many other aspects of studies also help us to understand the natural world. This science is also divided into branches as well. You have life science, we have physical science, and we have earth science. This life science, you can see that life science studies is a branch of science that help us to understand life or help us to understand life. Anything that is living. So biology falls into this branch. Biology falls in life science. It's on our life science help us understand life. We now talk about physical science. Physical science help us to understand the physical world, help us to understand matter, help us to understand energy. Consider physics and chemistry falls under physical science. The last branch, which is earth science, studies the universe. Okay, we have come to the end of this module, end of this lecture. And if you enjoyed this video, just hit that like button. Find the like button at the bottom of this video, right? hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so that you are not going to miss any of my video which is going to be uploaded. And don't forget to share this video with your classmates as well. Remember, you want to keep on receiving videos in sciences, chemistry, biology, physics, and mathematics. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. This channel is going to break down all those complex topics you have been facing in these sciences or these science subjects for you to be able to understand, beginning from the base to the highest level, which is the high school or even the university. We are going to do that in this particular channel. So make sure you stay tuned. See you in the next one.